Good evening. Welcome to this week's haunted pub crawl. Following on from the last one in York, we are sticking in York. How are you doing, Greg?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I'm good. The weather's beautiful at the moment, and everybody feels better with a bit of sun.
Very,
So
very
yeah,
hot. Hopefully, it lasts for the next week at
it
least.
is. I think the whole of next week. Are you doing anything nice?
Yes. So could do with it staying sunny for a festival. So yeah, let's stay sunny and
Yeah,
not get pissed in the tent. Pissed in rain in the tent. Well, we'll get pissed in the tent. Don't get pissed in the rain in the tent.
yeah. At least if it's warm and dry, that's the main thing, isn't it? Warm and dry, warm and dry.
Yeah. Try not to get covered in mud and all sorts in the rain.
So, as you mentioned, we're in York, and I am going to visit an interestingly named pub called
Cool.
the Cock and Bottle.
There's a lot of pubs with cock in the name, which is interesting.
Yeah, what do you think that is? I'm assuming this is to do with a cockerel rather than
You'd
anything
assume.
else.
You'd
You would
assume.
just, but maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it is what we both think it might be.
You don't see many like tits, which could be a bird as well.
Hmm.
Obviously, you got
Yeah,
tits.
you don't have like
The red tit is a pub.
or the breast and anchor or something like that. You don't see
Yeah.
stuff like that so much. Interesting. It's like
Yeah.
you have like red lion, red cow. Assuming this animal related potentially cock and bottle, slug and
You-
lettuce.
It's usually two things are related, like slug and lettuce. Obviously,
Hmm.
slugs eat lettuce or whatever. Cock and bottle. So it's a cockerel. They drink from a bottle.
I
What's
don't
the
know.
relation between
Could be.
a chicken and a bottle?
Is that a joke? What's
No,
the relationship between the chicken and the bowl?
no.
I thought I thought you were going to tell me the punchline then. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's like farming type thing that they have the chickens and the bottle of drink. Don't know. I didn't get that far in my research. I'll be honest with you.
Disappointing.
Very sorry. I'm back to school for that one. However, I think you quite like this one. So we're going to take a deeper look at the tales surrounding the Cock and Bottle pub in York, where a
Cool.
publican, Dave Byrne, has encountered a different kind of spirit. Like we've mentioned before, those are the paranormal variety.
Cheesy.
Easy. Well, I didn't lead in with the most paranormal pub in York. At least I didn't go there, and it doesn't state that it is the most paranormal pub in York. So makes a change.
I like
But
the. Is it a fat roof on there?
um,
Or is it? I can't tell.
no, it's a tiled roof, I think.
Oh, looks a bit odd.
Yeah, it is a strange looking pub, sort of in the middle of. It looks like over to this bit. It looks a bit modern, and then not so modern.
Hmm.
It's got a bit of a weird vibe about it. That like anywhere where the windows look a bit bent out of shape with the wood and stuff like that, and that's at an angle just there. So I don't know.
Yeah.
All that's bit weird, bit weird. But Dave Byrne, um, who at that point when he owned it had noticed peculiar occurrences since taking over the pub. Despite the walls being 2 inches thick and solid, strange noises and vibrations have been experienced, leading Dave to remain perplexed. And that's what he said. He said you can hear these noises, some knocking noises and whatnot, but they're like super thick walls, which you don't get in like properties nowadays. And it, like old school properties, got real big thick walls. Even the
Hmm.
internal walls in this place are thick.
Hmm.
Further oddities have transpired, including pictures falling off the walls and the gas switch to the beer pump being turned on without explanation. Again, I don't know. I don't know. But Dave's most chilling encounter involved a ghostly spectre that allegedly followed a female customer into a toilet cubicle.
Ah,
So yeah, bit of an
lots
odd,
of
bit of an odd
lots of
one.
toilet ones, isn't there?
Hmm. But you think though, maybe it was a toilet now, but it might not have been a toilet back then.
True.
So it could have been so. And I mean, the beer pump being turned on without explanation is a bit, maybe. I don't really know much about what beer pumps, how easy they are to turn on or anything, but
No, like things falling off the wall.
yeah.
Could
So, I mean,
could have things fall off in it. It just happens
yeah, depends how they're
sometimes.
hung up, I suppose. If they're on a nail on a wall, bit different to sort of being blue tacked or stuff like that.
There's
But
sometimes when like glasses fall off sides and stuff like yeah, that can just happen. But then sometimes where like it was nowhere near the edge and it must have
yeah,
proper slid. Or the one when we talked to Greg Bryant at
hmm
that bar where like the glasses on like big deep hooks.
yeah,
So you have to actually lift up to get it off the hook. So
hmm
for that to fall off on its own is a bit weird.
yeah, definitely, definitely. But some of these, it could be anything. But Dave believes that the ghost haunting the cock and bottle may be that of George Villiers. May not recognise the name. However, George was the Duke of Buckingham, who lived around 300 years ago. And legend has it that after the Royalist army's defeat at Worcester in 1651, the Duke retreated to York to pursue uh, alchemy research in an attempt to turn base metals into gold. And
Cool.
his laboratory occupied this very site where the cock and bottle stands today, allegedly.
Ah,
So accounts of ghostly sightings at the pub stretch back decades. So in 1971, Sylvia Steele, wife of a former landlord, Jack Steele, witnessed a peculiar apparition. As she prepared to open for the evening, she suddenly felt an intense gaze upon her. Turning swiftly, she spotted a grey shape with a green coat standing against the bar, which began fading away almost instantly. Regulars identified it as the Duke's ghost. So Dave then started to research Cock and Bottle and has uncovered fascinating history intertwined with its poltergeist visitor. So during the 60s, the council widened the road and scaled a gate where it is, leading to the demolition of about 10 feet of the pub's frontage. Later, 2 cottages at the rear were also demolished to expand the pub. Excavations in the cellar unveiled a remarkable 13th century vase, now exhibited at the John Smith's Museum in Tadcaster, and beams dating back to the 17th century still adorn the interior of the Cock and Bottle, testaments to sort of its long past that it's still got all of this history there.
mm,
So the Cock and Bottle presents an amalgamation of historical intrigue and paranormal activity. Pub landlord Dave Burns' experiences, along with the previous stuff and the pub's rich history, do lend credence to the notion that the ghostly presence haunting the establishment could indeed be that of the Duke of Buckingham. But as always, a lot of these tales are more anecdotal. There's got no evidence. It's all anecdotal from regulars that are in there, and obviously you don't know if some of it's to drum up a bit of trade because there are a lot of haunted pubs around, which
mm. And
seems a bit.
the thing with pubs is when they have the license to sell alcohol, I think most, if not all, have license that says the license says it had to have CCTV inside and outside.
Okay.
Excuse me. So you think that had they got CCTV, would there be more footage if all these haunted pubs
Mm.
and all these things happening, things falling off or glasses falling off or doors opening, things turning on?
Yeah.
Like, let's get some footage. Let's get some
Yeah.
footage of the beer gas turning itself on and
Yeah.
Stuff like
Yeah.
that'd be obviously give a lot of credibility to a lot of what is anecdotal, like you say.
And I think that is the problem. I mean, you watch places like programs like Crime Watch and some of these like police programs, and they always seem to be able to get video footage from inside the pub or outside of a pub.
Mm.
And I know there's a hotel that we speak about a lot, and they've got CCTV everywhere, and they do capture stuff. So why are we not seeing stuff at these kind of places where they, like you mentioned, as part of their license, they've got to have CCTV? So I don't know.
It'd be very
I,
helpful.
it would be very helpful to back
All the
up.
landlords out there get some CCTV.
Yeah. Even if you think it's a bit weird and a bit scary, it will help.
And you can blur out people's faces so you can abide by GDPR.
Yes. Yeah. And
You
we can
can't.
do that for you. Send it in. So that is the Cock and Bottle in Skeldersgate in York.
Cool. I was thinking of the name as well. We talked about the name and Cock and Bottle because there's quite a few pubs called the Cock and Bull,
Mm-hmm.
which was, kind of makes sense because farm animals and
Yep.
stuff. I was thinking throughout that, like Cock and Bottle, I was trying to think of a reference. I just couldn't think of one. I'll have to Google it later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because most
Interesting.
pubs have like obviously the name as history and stuff and that. So yeah, I'll have a look at some cock later.
Hey,
Oh god. So
that's
for
not a
Matt,
Google search, though, is it? That's
yeah,
a
no, what's safe
straight
search for?
website.
So yeah, let's move on swiftly. So I'm looking at a couple of pubs from Yorkshire, and I sometimes with these pubs you can find loads. It's like sometimes when you look in, and lots of places mention the same pubs,
Yep.
you can get lots of information and stories and all sorts from them. And sometimes you just can't find much at all, which is kind of frustrating. So for me this week, I've got two pubs, just a little bit
Cool.
about each one, just because I thought the stories themselves were interesting, and it actually leads on from your pub,
Okay. Interesting.
which we'll see in a minute. So I'm not in York. I'm headed still in Yorkshire. So for the first one, I'm going to head to Leeds, a little bit south of Yorkshire. I'm going to go to a pub called the Cardigan Arms.
Ooh, nice. Yeah.
Very striking looking
Yeah.
gold fronted building there. Very nice. But when this one comes up in a lot of places, a lot of websites, a lot of people talk about it, but there wasn't much actual information. So, but the stuff I've got is just because it's all sort of kind of related to the same thing and relates to your pub.
Yeah.
I'll want it to keep it in. So the Cardigan Arms is a historic pub. It's situated on the suburb of Kirkstall in Leeds,
Okay.
and it has a rich history dating back to the mid 19th century. So not as old as some of the pubs we've talked about, though it looks like it'd be
Yeah, it
quite
is quite
old.
old. Yeah.
It's known for its unique Victorian architecture and is a prominent example of a Victorian gin palace.
Oh,
It
tell me
kind of
more.
looks like that when you sort of look like it,
Yeah,
a bit palacey.
it does. Yeah, quite regal.
Mm. It was originally built in 1896 by the local Kirkstall Brewery, which was one of the many breweries in Leeds during that time. The pub takes its name from the seventh Earl of Cardigan, James Thomas Brunel, who is best known for leading the charge of the Light Brigade during the Crimean War. So a
Yeah.
bit of history there. On October 13th, 2006, so this is kind of one story. It's got a couple of things to it. And you mentioned the woman being followed into the toilet earlier.
Yeah.
I've had quite a few where things happen in toilets, toilet doors like opening and hearing people walk past the cubicle and stuff. So three separate women all experienced something around the same time in this pub, in the toilet. So
Wow.
This is why I was sort of wanting to talk about this. Even though, like I said, there's not much about it. Just these little three little anecdotes are pretty
Yeah.
cool. So one of the women briefly saw the reflection of a middle-aged elderly woman with long, straight grey hair in the mirror while she's in the toilet.
Wow.
Turns around, no one there. Another one of the girls sees us in waiting outside. Toilet doors, cubicle doors closed. Toilet flushes. So she's like waiting for them to come out. No one comes out. So she actually opens the door and there's no one in there. But
Okay.
the toilet was flushing. And another one, similar to the first one, she said she had a bit of a feeling of uneasiness before, like she went in the toilet. And when she was in the toilet, she again using the mirror, putting makeup on, putting some lipstick on, and she too saw like a figure stood behind her in the mirror.
Hmm.
So she's thinking it's just someone coming in the toilet, like you do. It's just the toilet in a pub.
Yeah.
Carried on putting the makeup on. When she went to leave, just no one there, no one else in the toilet. She's just there
I
all
think
alone.
the you see a lady, an old lady in a mirror, and you turn around and they're not there. That's like the stuff of horror films.
Mm.
That's kind of like every kind of cutscene on a horror film where you flick around and there's no one behind you. So that would be quite terrifying, I think.
I think it's interesting that three different people had
Mhm.
something happen in this one toilet
Yeah.
all around the same time as well. Not too long ago.
No,
Only like
that's quite
early 2000s, so it's
yeah, it's quite recent, really.
just a bit weird, that
Yeah.
one.
I like that one. No, that's cool. I like the toilet theme we got going on today.
Let's see if we've got any more in the next pub. And this is the black bull, as I mentioned, a bull, animals again, farm animals. The black
Oh,
bull in Haworth.
that's a good picture. It's quite
It's
striking.
very nice.
Yeah, it's a good picture. I like that.
Proper spooky.
Yeah.
Proper spooky, creepy pub. So this pub is in Keighley. So staying in Yorkshire again. And it's one of the oldest pubs in Yorkshire, so we're going a bit older now, but its history traced back to the 16th century. Currently
Okay.
situated next to the Anglican Church and is known as the home of the Brontes, the 19th
Oh,
century literary family.
yeah.
Been to, I think it's Charlotte's grave I've been to in Scarborough. It's one of them,
Okay.
they're buried up there.
Yeah, I'm not very good at literature.
I think my mum was a big fan of the Bronte sisters, Anne and Charlotte. Anyway, one
Uh,
of the Bronte brothers, Branwell Bronte, was known to visit the Black Bull a bit too often. He was an alcoholic and a opium addict.
Lovely.
He would while away his days drinking copious amounts in the bar before dying at age 31, so pretty young.
Lived
But of
fast, died young.
fast,
Nice.
yeah, fast and young. According to legend, it would seem that he found it difficult to stay away from the pub after his death.
Oh,
There's a bell that's inside the pub, which Bramwell used to ring when he wanted being to be served, and that still rings every night, even when no
ah,
one's there.
that's quite cool.
And over the past decades, locals have been said to hear the bell even after the pub's closed, which is even more weird. And various owners have claimed that they've woken in the middle of the night to hear it ringing and gone downstairs to investigate, and no one's there.
Why is this not
So
on CCTV, Ash? Why are they not recording this?
very
If it
true.
happens, if it happens that frequent,
Get it on CCTV.
so yeah, if it's repeatable and can be measured, that's science right there. It's known.
Yeah, yeah. There's also a chair, an original chair that belonged to Branwell, and his ghostly, shadowy figure has been seen multiple times sitting in the chair and then suddenly disappearing.
Cool.
And his figure, his spirit, has also been seen crossing the cobbles of the main street to the chemist where he would get his opium from.
Nice.
So it seems that this Branwell Bronte definitely sticking around
Yeah.
in his pub, ringing the bell, sitting in his chair, going to the chemist to get his drugs.
Sound like he had a good time in life. Why not carry it on?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, why not? Probably a bit famous, had a bit of money, spend your time
Yeah, that's the
having
original
a
bloody,
drink.
yeah, original kind of wild child socialite. Drink, drugs, money. Yeah, why not?
Right next to the church as well, which is
Yeah,
just there.
yeah, that is a great
Don't,
picture.
don't confess your sins after you've been to the pub.
I bet that could tell a few stories, that church.
Definitely. So yeah, that's just two quick but interesting stories I found. Like I said, there wasn't that much on them, but I just thought they're pretty cool. And the one
Definitely.
with the toilet, just three different
Yeah,
people having say similar stuff in the toilet was
yeah, yeah,
a bit
odd.
weird.
Yeah, nice one. Nice one.
So yeah, that is this episode of Haunted Pub Crawl. And we're going to stick around in Yorkshire for a bit more time
Yep.
yet. So join us next time.